Can you describe your experience as a finishing carpenter?
I have over 6 years of experience in finishing carpentry, specializing in installing trim, moldings, cabinets, doors, and custom woodwork. I'm skilled in reading blueprints, measuring accurately, and using a range of hand and power tools to deliver precise, high-quality finishes. I've worked on both residential and commercial projects, ensuring attention to detail and a polished final product.
What types of wooden materials do you commonly work with?
I regularly work with hardwoods like oak, maple, and cherry for trim and furniture, as well as softwoods like pine for moldings and interior panels. I also work with engineered woods, NTF, and laminates for cabinets and decorative finishes. Understanding the characteristics of each material helps me choose the right tools and finishing techniques to prevent damage and ensure durability.
How do you ensure accuracy when measuring and cutting materials?
I always double-check measurements before cutting and mark clearly with a pencil or marking tool. I use a combination of tape measures, squares, and levels to ensure precision. I also consider the expansion and contraction of wood due to humidity and temperature, which helps avoid gaps or misalignments.
Describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a difficult project.
On a recent project, a cabinet frame didn't align perfectly with the wall due to an uneven surface. I measured the irregularities and adjusted the frame by adding shims and carefully sanding the edges. This allowed the cabinet to fit flush without compromising the design, and the client was very satisfied with the result.
Which finishing techniques are you most experienced with?
I'm experienced in sanding, staining, painting, varnishing, and applying polyurethane finishes. I pay attention to the wood grain and always prep the surface properly to achieve a smooth, professional finish. I also ensure that finishes are applied evenly to enhance durability and aesthetics.
How do you prioritize safety on the job?
Safety is always my top priority. I wear proper protective equipment like gloves, goggles, and ear protection. I keep tools well maintained and organized, and I ensure the work area is free of hazards. I also follow proper lifting techniques and handle chemicals, stains, and finishes according to safety guidelines.
How do you handle tight deadlines without compromising quality?
I focus on careful planning and time management. I break the project into smaller tasks, prioritize critical steps, and maintain consistent quality checks. If needed, I collaborate with team members to complete tasks efficiently while ensuring that the finish meets professional standards.
Why do you want to work with our company?
I admire your company's reputation for high-quality craftsmanship and attention to detail. I'm passionate about finishing carpentry and want to contribute my skills to projects that are both challenging and rewarding. I'm confident that my experience aligns well with your standards and that I can help deliver exceptional results for your clients.
What tools do you consider essential for a finishing carpenter?
Essential tools include measuring tools, tape measure, squares, levels, hand tools, chisels, planes, hammers, power tools, sanders, routers, saws, and finishing supplies like brushes and sprayers. I also make sure to keep a well-organized toolbox to improve efficiency and maintain safety.
How do you handle customer feedback or complaints?
I listen carefully to the customer to understand their concerns, assess the situation objectively, and propose solutions that address the issue without compromising quality. I maintain clear communication throughout the process to ensure they're satisfied with the outcome.
How do you handle custom carpentry projects?
For custom projects, I start by carefully reviewing the client's requirements and blueprints. I take precise measurements and plan the sequence of work. I often create templates or mock-ups to ensure the design fits perfectly before cutting or assembling. Attention to detail is key to achieving a flawless final product.
What do you do if you notice a mistake after installing a piece of trim or molding?
I immediately assess the extent of the issue. If possible, I correct it on-site by sanding, filling gaps, or repositioning the piece. If a replacement is needed, I fabricate it to match the original finish. I prioritize both speed and quality, ensuring the client sees a professional result.
How do you prevent wood damage during finishing?
I handle materials carefully, keeping them off the ground and away from moisture. I use proper clamps and supports when cutting or assembling. When sanding or finishing, I work gently to avoid scratches or dents and always test finishes on scrap pieces before applying them to the final work.
Can you read and interpret blueprints and technical drawings?
Yes, I can read detailed blueprints, elevations, and technical drawings. I pay close attention to dimensions, angles, and material specifications. This ensures that every cut and assembly aligns with the design and that the finished product meets client expectations.
What's your experience with finishing hardware, hinges, handles, locks?
I'm experienced in installing all types of hardware accurately, ensuring proper alignment and smooth operation. I also pre-drill holes to prevent splitting and check the functionality after installation. I pay attention to aesthetic placement so the hardware complements the overall design.
Describe a time you had to work under difficult conditions.
I once had to install trim in a newly renovated home where walls were slightly uneven. I carefully scribed the trim to fit perfectly against the irregular surfaces, using sanding and custom cuts. The end result looked seamless, and the client appreciated the attention to detail despite the challenging conditions.
How do you maintain your tools and equipment?
I clean, sharpen, and lubricate tools regularly to keep them in top condition. I inspect power tools for wear and replace blades, bits, or pads as needed. Proper maintenance not only extends the life of tools, but also ensures safety and accuracy on the job.
How do you handle a project when unexpected issues arise?
I assess the problem carefully, then develop a practical solution that minimizes delays. I communicate with the client or supervisor if the issue affects the schedule or design. For example, if a door frame doesn't fit perfectly, I'll adjust the frame, trim, or hardware to achieve a proper fit without compromising quality.
What steps do you take to ensure a smooth finish?
I start with proper sanding, filling gaps with wood filler, and cleaning the surface to remove dust. I apply primer if painting and use multiple thin coats of finish rather than one thick coat. Between coats, I lightly sand and wipe down the surface to ensure a flawless final result.
How do you manage multiple finishing tasks on a single project?
I prioritize tasks based on workflow and drying times. For example, I might finish staining cabinets first, then move to trim installation once the stain dries. I keep organized checklists and maintain a clean workspace to prevent mistakes and ensure efficiency.